sessions and to start setting up your individual sessions. So let's take a look at group sessions first. Group sessions are sessions in which you'll have a set schedule, so a regularly occurring schedule, and potentially a group of youth attending at once. We are also going to allow you to use group sessions to track individual academic coaching, which is what I'll explain later on. So the first step is let's click Add Session to create our class. When creating your class and naming your session, you do want to use the school name first, mainly because you're working with so many schools that this list of group sessions is going to get quite long. So by adding the school name first, it's a way for you to organize your list. The next thing I would advise to do is to either name the program service, or at this point you can, if you have a really specific name that you call a class, maybe it's like math leaders or something like that, you can use a more detailed name here. But in this situation, I'm just going to call this instruction. If you have multiple instruction classes, then you would want to detail it even more by adding maybe a grade level, or even further, you could add the teacher's name. Okay, so what I'm doing again is just making sure that the name of my class or my session is very easy for me to understand and easy for a teacher to go in and say, this is where I need to take attendance. This is my class. So after you create your session name, you're going to assign the school. So again, this school drop-down list will populate the list of schools that you've been approved to work with. So we'll go ahead and assign it to demo school 2. And then you also choose your program service. So the program services that you've been approved to have are also listed in your contract. And we use this to populate the list here. So I'm just going to call this instruction. And then I'll click on group activities. If you don't see a program service listed here, my advice would be to first contact your Title I coordinator to let them know, and then we can also make the update if something is incorrect. These program services are tied to your rates that you've been contracted for, so we do use this to eventually calculate the total invoiceable amount per month that you're allowed to submit to CPS. So I finished filling out all 4 sections. I'll click Save and Proceed. And now I'm going to set my schedule. So I'm going to click Edit next to Schedule, and then click this link to add multiple dates. For the majority of you, since it is a recurring class, you'll probably use this. So add my dates. We are starting from February, and you are not required to enter any data from September to January. So just February and onward, and we will be asking you to submit your February invoices using the system. All right, so I'm going to schedule this for the rest of the year, and then I'm going to add my sessions. So to add your classes, all you need to do is set the start and end time for each day the class occurs. So this will be a Tuesday, Thursday class. Okay. And then once I'm done, I'll click Add Multiple Dates, and then my class list appears. At this point, if you know that you're not going to offer a class, so for example, maybe I'm not offering class this week, I'll click my dates, click Delete Selected, and when you are deleting dates from a schedule, we will always let you know if you're deleting any present attendance. Of course, if you delete any present records, it is not recoverable, so you'll have to re-enter the data. So this is okay because it's 0. I'll click Confirm the Delete, and now the dates have been removed from my schedule. So once I have created my schedule, I'll go ahead and click Return. Then I'll go and assign the staff. So I'll click Edit, And this will be a list of all of the service providers that I've created. So I just created Henry Adams. He's going to be my lead staff. And then maybe I have one more person working with him. Edward will be my support staff. If you don't see a list of teachers here, or if you don't see your teacher or service provider in this list, you will have to probably create their record in students and service providers. Okay, so once we're done with this, I'll go ahead and click return. And the next step is to add a location. So this is actually optional. You do not have to indicate a location for your class, but if you want to, you can create the location by entering a name. So maybe this is room 10. I'll go ahead and click create. And if I want to make it more detailed, such as adding a building, I can select the building, click add, and enter a building name. Okay. And I'll go ahead and click create. You can enter more information here, such as the address and contact person if you'd like. Go ahead and click return. Now I can select T building. So I've seen that it's listed here. And once I'm done with all of this, I'll click return. And now I can choose T building, or sorry, room 10 T building, and it's assigned to location. Finally, the last thing that you'll want to do is you do want to add a description of the class. So this can be very brief. It can talk about the curriculum, talk about the strategies that you're using. So just go ahead. It's a good way for you to let CPS know like what's happening in this class. Go ahead and click return. And now I finished my service setup. Okay. So does anyone have any questions about the service setup? Okay. We do have one. Is the service description optional or mandatory? The service description is optional. It does not affect your invoicing, but it is a nice to have.
So just so everyone knows, she can actually.
Again, what I cannot emphasize more is that you must have the correct assigned school and the correct program service assigned to your services, because this does determine how we will calculate your invoices.
So in the text box, we can only see our questions and see her
responses. So once you've created your classes, you'll go ahead and start to enroll your students. So I'll go ahead and click on this enrollment tab and click on the yellow enroll button. And to enroll participants, we have 3 options for you. One is you could search for the student by using their first or last name. And again, you can enter a partial name search. But seems to looks like it's, so you would just use the first and last name search to search for a participant. The next way you can do it is you can use the alphabet. So you can choose a letter. Let's see. So you could choose a letter such as J, and then a list of the participants will appear. Okay. And finally, you can use all, and then and then you would be able to choose among all the participants. You can also use this grade search field because we do know that many of you group your classes by grade, so you can always search for a grade. The students that you are able to assign or enroll into a class is going to be only the students that go to the school assigned to the session. So these are all the students that go to a demo school too. So we do that inherent restriction so you don't have to worry about accidentally enrolling a student that doesn't attend the school the class is being provided at. So once you choose a couple of participants, you're going to click Next Step. And then you're going to see this enrollment date. And the enrollment date will always default to the first scheduled day of class. But if someone attends a little bit later, you can just update the enrollment date here and click Next Step. Afterwards, you're going to click Done. Okay. And then at this point, you can enroll more participants. I'm clicking All. Or if you're completely done, just go ahead and click Return, and then you'll get to your enrollment list. So you'll see your list of youth, you'll see their status, and then you'll see their start dates. If you accidentally enroll a participant that was not meant to be in the class, you can go ahead and click Edit here and then click on this Unenroll button. We will let you know again if there's present records, because if you unenroll a participant with present records, you are going to delete their attendance. So this is okay. I'll go ahead and confirm the delete, and I will remove the first student from my list. Are there any questions about enrollment? Great. So now let's go ahead and take a look at attendance. So when you are taking attendance for your classes, you can do this every day. You can do it every couple of days, but you should be doing it fairly regularly so that at the end of the month you aren't rushing to get all of your attendance in. So we do recommend doing it daily or every week. Okay. So you'll click on the date that you want to take attendance in. Okay. And when you take attendance for a day, you'll see that we have a list of all of the codes and what situation the code applies to. So we have 4 columns, P, A, O, and E, so present, absent, other, and excused. Present is when the student's in class, and absent is when the student is not in class. This can be used for 5 sessions consecutively. So if you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday class, then they could be absent for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the following Monday and Tuesday. Other is used when the student has been absent on the 6th consecutive day, when they have transferred out and are no longer receiving services, if the teacher is absent, if it's a school holiday, it's in service. And excused can be used when the student cannot attend Title I but is in the school working on something else or testing, if there's a school-related activity such as a field trip or assembly, or if there's a snow day. So you are able to bill for present, absent, and excused attendance. You are not able to bill for other. So all you need to do is take attendance for your students, click Save and Next Day, and take attendance, click Save and Next Day. Okay, and we'll do that again. And we'll do it another time. Okay. So on Thursday, February 16th, if you recall, I did enroll one of the participants on the 15th. So he now appears on my attendance sheet. So when there are multiple youth on your list, you can click All Present, and then you can move them to whatever attendance is accurate for them. All present, and then just move the people absent, other, or excused that you need to. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and click Return, and now if I click All Dates, you'll see a list of my attendance. Okay. I'm going to do one more where I only take attendance for one youth, and I leave the gym completely blank. Okay. Click Save and Next Day. Whoops, I clicked Logged Out by accident. We go ahead and enter the system again. So remember, I click on the demo provider. I'll go to my group sessions. I'm looking for the class I just created, which is 4th grade Mrs. Henderson. I'll go to attendance, and when I look at my attendance list, we do have this far right column for you that's color coded. The number on the left indicates how many youth were present that day, and the number on the right indicates how many youth were enrolled in class. So it jumps up to 2 because you remember that I think Jim was enrolled on the 15th. The colors mean that you've taken attendance for every youth that day, and green means that. And if it's this orange color, then it means that you're missing attendance for someone. You forgot to take attendance for someone, and red means that you have not taken attendance that day. Okay. All right. So, are there any questions about taking attendance? So we have a question where if there is attendance, if the attendance is marked in error, are we allowed to make a correction for that specific child? Yes. So if I go to Thursday, February 16th, and I realize that Jim is actually present, I can just switch him present and click save. So you do want to make sure that you enter attendance as accurately as possible, and we do have some reports that will assist you with that. That I will be showing later in the training. But you are able to update your attendance. It's not locked. Okay. We do have a question about students' assignments, Melanie. So a user is asking, if a student was once enrolled back in November 2016, but now they have transferred, would they be assigned to a session in CitySpan?
If they transfer to another school, I would not know about it. They're still in our system. However, the students come up, or the vendors can see students based on their school assignment on the eligibility. So however the student was given to me when eligibility was done, that's the school that's with them. If the student needs to be changed, you'd go into your appeal form, fill out an appeal for the student and say transferred, and then let me know what the new school is. So what I would then do is go into CitySpan, change the school, and it could be under your vendor name, or it could be under another vendor name. Maybe you don't service the new school. And so whatever, the school will dictate where the student is seen next. And they can be added at any time.
Follow-up question is, what if it's not a school the student transferred to, but they were transferred out of state? So I think the question is, because we're only tracking attendance from February till the end of the year, if a student attended some portion of the program in, say, November, December, then transferred out of state, do they need to enroll the student into classes and just continually mark them O?
No, absolutely not. We're only tracking attendance from February on. So if they were in your attendance for October, November, December, that's already in your documentation that was submitted with the invoicing that goes for that month. So going forward, I don't want to say we don't care, but we already have documentation on those students. We want to just make sure that when you look, you want to see them in February. Whoever you are servicing in February, you make sure that they're in CitySpan and that you see them and you can add them to a class, because that's what you're going to be billed on.
Great. So I mentioned when I started talking about group sessions